Man United offered chance to sign Wilfred Ndidi. Could this defensive machine save our season? Welcome back to United Daily Updates, your most trusted source for everything Manchester United. If you are watching this for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications because we bring you the latest transfer news, match analysis, and expert opinions that you will not find anywhere else. Today we have got some breaking transfer news that has got the entire United community talking. Wilfred Ndidi, the Nigerian defensive midfielder who spent years dominating the Premier League with Leicester City, could be heading to Old Trafford. This is not just another rumour. This is real. Manchester United have been offered the chance to sign Ndidi from Besiktas before the January window slams shut. The player wants to come back to England. The club are aware of the opportunity, and fans are divided on whether this is the signing we need or a move that makes no sense. Let us break down everything you need to know about this potential transfer. The big question that needs answering. Is Wilfred Ndidi the midfielder Manchester United desperately need right now? Or are we about to repeat the same mistakes of signing aging players on big wages who do not fit into our long-term plans? This is the debate that is splitting United fans down the middle, and honestly, both sides have valid points. What exactly is happening with this transfer? Let us start with the facts because there is a lot of conflicting information floating around. According to transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, Manchester United have been offered the chance to sign Wilfred Ndidi this January. The key word here is offered. United have not made a bid. They have not submitted a proposal. But they are aware of the opportunity. Romano said on his YouTube channel that Ndidi has been presented to United as a midfield option for January. The player himself would be keen on returning to the Premier League. That makes sense when you think about it. Ndidi spent nearly a decade playing in England. He knows the league. He knows what it takes to succeed here. And after just 6 months in Turkey with Besiktas, he apparently wants to come back. Now here is where things get interesting. According to journalist Alan Myers, who has contacts in Turkey, Manchester United have actually held talks about signing Ndidi. He revealed on social media that his sources tell him United have discussed this transfer and that the player is anxious to return to England. So which is it? Have United held talks or not? Well, both things can be true. Ndidi's representatives could have approached United and offered the player. United could have listened and discussed it internally. But that does not mean they have opened formal negotiations or made any concrete moves. That is where we are right now. United know about the opportunity but have not committed to anything. There is also talk that Ndidi would be willing to take a pay cut to facilitate a move to Old Trafford. That is significant. It shows how badly he wants this transfer to happen. Players do not usually volunteer to earn less money unless they really believe in the project or really want to leave their current club. Who is Wilfred Ndidi and why should United care? For those of you who might not be familiar with Ndidi, let me give you the full picture. This is a player who spent 9 years at Leicester City and became one of the most consistent defensive midfielders in the Premier League during that time. Ndidi played 303 games for Leicester across 8 seasons in the top flight. Think about that number for a second. Over 300 appearances for one club in the Premier League. That does not happen by accident. You do not rack up those kinds of numbers unless you are reliable, consistent, and good at what you do. What does Ndidi actually do on the pitch? He is a defensive midfielder in the truest sense of the term. His job is to win the ball back, to break up opposition attacks, to shield the defense, to do the dirty work that does not always show up on highlight reels but is absolutely crucial to any successful team. The stats back this up. Ndidi ranks in the 98th percentile for interceptions. That means he is better at reading the game and cutting out passes than 98% of midfielders. He ranks in the 97th percentile for aerial duels. The guy wins headers. He ranks in the 94th percentile for tackles and 92nd percentile for clearances. These are elite defensive numbers. He is also a physical presence. Standing at 6 feet tall with a strong build, Ndidi can handle the physicality of the Premier League. He has the engine to cover ground for 90 minutes. He has the discipline to hold his position. And he has the experience of playing in big matches and handling pressure. But there is a downside too. Ndidi offers very little going forward. Once he wins the ball back, he usually plays it simple to a teammate. He is not going to dribble past 3 players. He is not going to play killer through balls. He is not going to score goals. His job is purely defensive, and that is both his strength and his limitation. The recent AFCON performance that caught everyone's attention. One of the reasons this transfer is getting so much attention right now is because of what Ndidi just did at the Africa Cup of Nations. He captained Nigeria at the tournament and was one of their standout performers as they reached the semi-finals. This is important because it shows that at 29 years old, Ndidi is still performing at the highest level. He has not dropped off. He has not lost his legs. He can still compete with the best players in the world. The Afghan showed everyone that he still has what it takes. Watching Ndidi at the tournament, you could see all the qualities that made him such a reliable player in the Premier League. The positioning, the tackling, the leadership. He was organizing his teammates. He was winning his individual battles. He was doing exactly what a top defensive midfielder should do. For United fans wondering if this is a player whose best days are behind him, the Afghan performance should ease some of those concerns. This is not a player coming to Old Trafford for one last big payday before retirement. This is a player who can still perform at the elite level. Why this move makes sense for Manchester United? Let us talk about why signing Ndidi could actually be a smart move for United. First and foremost, we have a problem in defensive midfield. Casemiro has been inconsistent this season. Some games he looks like the world-class player we signed from Real Madrid. Other games he looks like his legs have gone and he cannot keep up with the pace of the Premier League. Manuel Ugarte was supposed to be the long-term solution, but he has struggled to adapt. He has not looked comfortable in English football. He has made mistakes. He has not provided the stability that United desperately need in that position. So what do you do when your current options are not working? You bring in someone who has a proven track record in the Premier League. Someone who knows the league inside and out. Someone who can come in and do a job immediately without needing time to adapt. That is exactly what Ndidi offers. He spent 220 games playing in the Premier League for Leicester. He knows the intensity. He knows the physicality. He knows what it takes to succeed. There would be no adaptation period. No learning curve. He could slot straight into the team and contribute from day one. There is also the experience factor. At 29 years old, Ndidi is in his prime years for a defensive midfielder. He is old enough to have tons of experience but young enough to still have several good years left in his career. He has won the FA Cup with Leicester in 2021, so he knows what it takes to win trophies. And let us not forget the leadership aspect. Ndidi is currently the captain of Besiktas. He was the captain of Nigeria at AFCON. This is a player who teammates respect. A player who can organize those around him. A player who can be a voice in the dressing room. United could use more leaders, especially in that midfield area. From a financial perspective, this could be smart business too. Besiktas are reportedly asking for €15 million, which is about £13 million. In today's crazy transfer market, that is actually quite reasonable for a player of Ndidi's experience and ability. Compare that to the £100 million plus that United would need to spend on younger targets like Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton, and suddenly Ndidi looks like a bargain. Why this move might not make sense. Now let us flip the script and talk about why some United fans are worried about this potential transfer. The biggest concern is that Ndidi does not fit the profile of player that United should be signing right now. Think about it. United are supposed to be rebuilding. They are supposed to be getting younger. They are supposed to be signing players who can be part of the long-term future of the club. Ndidi is 29 years old. By the time he adapts and settles in, he will be 30. How many good years does he have left at the top level? Maybe 2 or 3 at best. This feels like the kind of short-term thinking that has got United into trouble before. How many times have we signed older players on decent money who gave us 1 or 2 okay seasons before declining rapidly? How many times have we prioritized experience over potential and regretted it? There is also the question of whether Ndidi is actually good enough for where United want to be. Yes, he was excellent for Leicester. But Leicester were a mid-table team for most of his time there. They were not challenging for titles. They were not playing in the Champions League regularly. Is a player who was good enough for Leicester good enough for Manchester United when we have ambitions of winning the Premier League? Some people will point to the fact that Ndidi offers nothing going forward. In modern football, even defensive midfielders need to be able to contribute to the attack. Look at Rodri at Manchester City. Look at Declan Rice at Arsenal. These guys do not just defend. They can pass. They can carry the ball. They can score goals. Ndidi cannot do any of that. If United sign Ndidi, they are essentially admitting that they cannot attract the top young talents they really want. Players like Elliot Anderson are going elsewhere. So United settle for a 29-year-old who is available and willing to come. That is not exactly inspiring, is it? What Michael Carrick might be thinking. This brings us to an interesting question. What does Michael Carrick think about all of this? We know that Carrick has said he is happy with his current squad. We know he has said there is talent and ability in the group. We know he has indicated that he does not need to make signings. But Carrick is also a smart football man. He knows that midfield is a problem area. He knows that Casemiro cannot play every game. He knows that depth is important over long season. So would he be interested in bringing in someone like Ndidi as a squad option? The thing about Carrick is that he was a midfielder himself. And not just any midfielder. He was one of the most intelligent, most cultured midfielders of his generation. He understands the position better than most managers. He knows what qualities are needed. He knows what makes a good defensive midfielder tick. My guess is that Carrick would appreciate what Ndidi brings. The defensive discipline. The positioning. The ability to read the game. These are all things that Carrick valued as a player. But would he want to sacrifice attacking quality for defensive solidity? That is the big question. Carrick wants to play a 4-2-3-1 formation with 2 holding midfielders. In theory, you could play Ndidi alongside someone more creative like Mainu or even Bruno dropping deeper. Ndidi does the defensive work while his partner provides the creativity. That could work. But it also limits United going forward. If you have a purely defensive midfielder in there who offers nothing in attack, you are essentially playing with one less attacking player than your opponents. Against weaker teams at Old Trafford, that could be a problem. The competition for his signature. United are not the only club interested in Ndidi. According to reports, Everton and Al Ahly from Saudi Arabia are also in the mix. That tells you something about the level this transfer is being pitched at. Everton are fighting relegation. They need experience and know how to help them stay in the Premier League. Ndidi would make sense for them. He could be the defensive shield they need to grind out results and survive. Al Ahly can offer massive money. Saudi clubs have been throwing crazy wages at players to tempt them to the Middle East. If Ndidi is primarily motivated by money, the Saudi option might be most attractive. But if Ndidi genuinely wants to compete at the highest level, to play for one of the biggest clubs in the world, to potentially win major trophies, then Manchester United is clearly the best option. That is why the reports about him being willing to take a pay cut are so interesting. It suggests he is motivated by more than just money. What the experts and pundits are saying. The reaction to this potential transfer has been mixed across the football world. Some pundits think it makes perfect sense. A low-risk, experienced addition who can provide cover and competition in a problem position. What is not to like? Others think United should be aiming higher. That a club of United stature should not be looking at 29-year-old defensive midfielders from Turkish clubs. That this smacks of desperation and poor planning. What is interesting is that there is no clear consensus. Usually with United transfer rumours, you can tell pretty quickly whether it is a good idea or not. But with Ndidi, smart people are on both sides of the debate. That tells you this is a genuinely complicated decision. The financial aspect and wage structure. Let us talk money because it matters. Beşiktaş are reportedly asking for €15 million. In the grand scheme of things, that is not a huge amount for Manchester United. It is a relatively low-risk investment. But it is not just about the transfer fee. It is about wages too. What would Ndidi cost in terms of salary? Even if he is willing to take a pay cut from what he is earning in Turkey, he will still expect Premier League wages. Probably somewhere in the region of £80,000 to £100,000 per week would be my guess. That might not sound like much compared to what some United players earn, but it adds up. Over a 3 or 4 year contract, you are talking about serious money. And if Ndidi does not work out, you are stuck with another aging player on decent wages who you cannot shift. This is where United's wage structure comes into play. The club have been trying to be smarter about wages. Trying not to overpay. Trying to maintain some kind of structure. Signing Ndidi on big money could mess that up, especially if younger players see a 29-year-old coming in and earning more than them. How Ndidi would fit into the current squad. Let us think tactically about how this would actually work. If United sign Ndidi, where does he play? What is his role? How does he fit with the other midfielders? In the 4-2-3-1 formation that Carrick wants to play, Ndidi would be one of the 2 holding midfielders. His partner could be Mainu, who is more creative and can carry the ball. That is actually quite a nice balance. Ndidi protects while Mainu creates. Or you could play Ndidi alongside Ugarte when you want 2 defensive-minded players in big away games. That gives you maximum protection and stability, though it might be too cautious for Old Trafford matches against weaker teams. The key is that Ndidi gives you options. He gives you tactical flexibility. In some games, you need his defensive qualities. In other games, maybe you go with a more creative pairing. Having quality depth means you can adapt to different opponents and situations. But there is a risk too. If you sign Ndidi, what happens to the development of younger players? Does Mainu get fewer minutes? Does it block the path for academy prospects? These are important considerations when you are trying to build for the future. The Leicester connection and Premier League pedigree. One thing you cannot argue with is Ndidi's Premier League pedigree. This is a guy who spent 9 years proving himself in the best league in the world. He has played against every top team multiple times. He knows what it takes. That Leicester team he was part of was actually quite good for periods. They won the FA Cup. They qualified for Europe. They competed in the Champions League. Ndidi was a key part of all of that success. People who watched Leicester regularly will tell you that Ndidi was often their best player. He was the glue that held that midfield together. When he was injured, Leicester really struggled. That tells you how important he was to them. The question is whether those Leicester days represent his peak or whether he still has that level in him. At 29, you would think he should still be near his best. Defensive midfielders often peak in their late 20s and early 30s because the position is more about intelligence and reading the game than pure athleticism. What this says about United's transfer strategy. The bigger picture here is what this potential transfer tells us about United's overall strategy. Are they going for young, high-potential players who can grow with the club? Or are they looking for experienced, proven players who can contribute immediately? The truth seems to be that United are trying to balance both approaches. They want young talents like they reportedly want Anderson and Wharton. But they also recognize that sometimes you need experience. Sometimes you need players who have been there and done it. Ndidi falls into that second category. He is the experienced pro who can come in and steady the ship. Who can help the younger players develop. Who can provide leadership and know-how. There is value in that, even if it is not as exciting as signing the next big wonder kid. The timing of this potential move. One interesting aspect is the timing. We are in late January. The window closes in about 10 days. If United are serious about signing Ndidi, they need to move quickly. There is not much time for lengthy negotiations or complicated deals. That actually works in United's favor in some ways. Besiktas know the clock is ticking. If they want to sell and reinvest the money, they need to do it soon. That could drive the price down and make negotiations easier. For Ndidi, the timing is interesting too. He has just finished AFCON where he performed well. His stock is as high as it has been in a while. He is match fit and sharp. If United sign him now, he could contribute immediately rather than needing time to get up to speed. What needs to happen for this deal to go through? So what would it take for this transfer to actually happen? First, United would need to decide they actually want Ndidi. That means Carrick giving the green light. That means the recruitment team agreeing he fits the profile. That means Ineos being willing to spend the money. Then there would need to be negotiations with Besiktas. Agreeing on a fee. Working out payment terms. Sorting out any add-ons or bonuses. The Turkish club are asking for 15 million euros, but United might try to negotiate that down a bit. Personal terms would need to be agreed with Ndidi. Salary, length of contract, bonuses, image rights, all of that stuff. The reports suggest Ndidi is willing to be flexible, which helps. But you still need to hammer out the details. Finally, there would be a medical and all the paperwork. Given Ndidi's injury history is generally good and he just played a full tournament at AFCON, the medical should not be a problem. But you never know. All of this needs to happen in about 10 days. It is doable, but it requires everyone to move quickly and efficiently. No messing around. No drawn-out negotiations. Just get it done or move on. The alternative options United might consider. If United decide Ndidi is not the right move, what are the alternatives? Well, they have been linked with several other midfielders this window. Ruben Loftus-Cheek from AC Milan has been mentioned. He is more of an all-round midfielder than a pure defensive player. He offers more going forward but less defensive stability than Ndidi. Ruben Neves from Al Hilal was linked earlier in the window, but he apparently wants to join Real Madrid, so that seems dead in the water. The truth is, there are not many quality defensive midfielders available in January. The best players are either playing for clubs who will not sell mid-season or they are not available at all. That is why Ndidi is an interesting option. He is actually available. He wants to come. And he would not cost a fortune. What United fans should hope for. As United fans, what should we be hoping for here? Personally, I think it depends on your perspective and priorities. If you care most about short-term results, about finishing in the top for this season, about having experienced depth to help you grind out wins, then Ndidi makes sense. He is a low-risk signing who can contribute immediately. If you care most about long-term planning, about building a young squad that can compete for years, about exciting potential rather than proven reliability, then Ndidi is probably not your guy. You would rather the club saved the money and wages for a younger target in the summer. Both views are valid. Both have merit. The question is what United's priorities actually are right now. Are they trying to fix immediate problems or build for the future? The Ndidi decision will tell us a lot about which direction the club wants to go. The bigger context of United's midfield issues. Let us zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture. United's midfield has been a problem for years now. We have not had a truly world-class, balanced midfield since the days of Carrick, Scholes, and Fletcher. We have tried to fix it by signing players like Pogba, Fred, McTominay, Casemiro, Mount, Ugarte, and others. Some have been okay. Some have been disappointing. None have really solved the problem completely. The issue is that there has been no clear plan. Different managers have wanted different types of players. There has been no consistency in recruitment. No long-term vision for what the midfield should look like. Maybe Ndidi is just another short-term fix that does not address the fundamental issues. Or maybe he is exactly what United need right now to provide stability while they figure out the long-term plan. It all depends on your perspective. The final verdict. So after all of that analysis, what is my verdict? Should United sign Wilfred Ndidi or not? Honestly, I am conflicted. Part of me sees the logic. United need midfield depth. Ndidi is experienced, proven in the Premier League, and available. He would not cost much. He could do a job. For £13 million, it is fairly low risk. But another part of me worries that this is exactly the kind of signing that United should be moving away from. Buying older players who do not fit the long-term vision. Going for experience over potential. Playing it safe rather than being ambitious. If I had to make the call, I would probably say do it, but only on certain conditions. The transfer fee needs to be reasonable. The wages cannot be excessive. The contract should be 2 years maximum, maybe with an option for a third. And it should be made clear that this is a squad player signing, not a starter. Ndidi could be useful depth. He could provide competition. He could help in certain tactical situations. But he should not be the main solution to United's midfield problems. He should be a supporting player, not a starring role. What happens next? Over the next few days, we will find out whether this transfer has legs or whether it is just another rumor that fades away. If United are serious, we should start seeing more concrete reports. We should see bids being made. We should see negotiations progressing. The clock is ticking on the January window. Decisions need to be made quickly. Either United move for Ndidi or they decide to stick with what they have. There is not much middle ground here. Stay connected with United Daily Updates. Here at United Daily Updates, we will be tracking every development in this story. If there is news about Ndidi, you will hear it here first. If United make a move, we will break it down for you. If the deal falls through, we will explain why. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel so you do not miss any updates. Turn on those notifications so you know the moment we upload new content. And join the conversation in the comments below. Do you want United to sign Ndidi? Do you think he would improve the team? Let us know your thoughts. We are building the best Manchester United community on YouTube, and you are part of it. Whether you agree with every take or you think we are completely wrong, we want to hear from you. That is what makes this fun. The January window is heating up. Decisions are being made that will impact United's season and maybe their future. This is when things get interesting. This is when we find out what kind of club United want to be. Are they going to be smart and patient, waiting for the right opportunities? Or are they going to panic and make desperate signings? The Ndidi situation will tell us a lot about which direction they are heading. One thing is for sure. Whatever happens with this transfer, it will not solve all of United's problems. There is no magic signing that fixes everything. Building a successful team takes time, planning, and patience. Ndidi could be a small piece of that puzzle, but he is not the whole picture. Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay passionate about this great club. We will get through this rebuild together. Come on, United.